The things you experience because you're still clinging to toxic hope with the narcissist. Toxic hope is an extremely harmful sort of denial that can keep us stuck in toxic relationships, especially those with narcissists. It's a type of denial that keeps us from seeing the truth about our circumstances and helps us to maintain false beliefs and stories. This kind of optimism is harmful to our mental and emotional health and serves to sustain the narcissistic partner's pattern of gaslighting and manipulation. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which the narcissist manipulates the victim into doubting their own sanity, memory, and perception of reality. This is done through a variety of tactics, such as lying, withholding information, and distorting the truth. As a result, the victim is left feeling confused, disoriented, and unsure of themselves, which allows the narcissist to maintain control and power over the relationship. When we cling to toxic hope in a relationship with a narcissist, we are essentially giving them the power to gaslight us. We are choosing to believe their lies and distorted truths, instead of facing the reality of the situation. This can have devastating consequences on our mental and emotional well-being. It can lead to feelings of confusion, isolation, and self-doubt, as well as a host of other negative emotions such as anxiety, depression, and trauma. Here are several signs that you're still clinging to toxic hope with your narcissistic ex. Firstly, you have these uneasy feelings when put to the test. If you feel uneasy when someone challenges your hopes, you may be dealing with toxic hope. Consider that you have bought into the gaslighter's version of events, despite your conscious awareness that it is illogical. Perhaps you were having a conversation about it with someone else, and you began by sharing your hopes and beliefs about the topic, only to have that person start to punch holes in your reasoning. The person might respond with, "Yeah, but what about this? Perhaps this is just a confusing passage. Please elaborate." Have you posed this inquiry to this person? If people begin to question your story and you become really uncomfortable or furious, that's a good clue that your hope is toxic. If you are secure in your position and your views, you should feel neither uneasy nor angry. Secondly, this is not your first rodeo. There's a good chance your hope is toxic if this isn't your first time at the proverbial or figurative plate. Clearly, you've gone through this before. Maybe you've harbored a lot of toxic hope all through the relationship. In reality, though, you are constantly disappointed because you expect a shift that never occurs. There may be signs of improvement that you may hold to. This was a step in the right direction for sure. It's true that there have been some tweaks. Perhaps we are making some headway. However, if you compare where you are now to where you were when you first noticed there are some flaws in the relationship and see no meaningful development over a reasonable amount of time, then your hope is definitely toxic. Thirdly, ongoing anxiety. Feelings of "what if I'm wrong?" are another warning sign that you're clinging to toxic hope. And if that turns out to be wrong, what if they're lying? It can develop rapidly at times. Perhaps you only notice it occasionally. Simply put, it's an underlying sense of discomfort that keeps rearing its head. You keep going back to that toxically optimistic scenario in your head and trying to push it away, but you can't shake the feeling that something is off. Fourth, the pervasive sense of guilt. Your hope is toxic if the individual you're interacting with is forcing you to take responsibility for something you didn't do or pass it off to someone else. Perhaps they will stir up thoughts of something in you. They may say that you can't be trusted and that this is why you don't believe the story they told you. It's illogical, but they'll tell you it's just you not trusting them. Toxic hope exists when the other person insists you shift your perspective or behavior in order to keep it alive. Fifth, you pass the buck. Another red flag is that you're placing your hopes in the wrong person. In light of all of these red flags, introspection is crucial. Your tendency to shift blame away from the other person and onto yourself, another person, or even God is an indicator that something is wrong. One more piece of advice. If you plan on staying in this relationship and clinging to this hope for any period of time, start making notes. These 5 signs indicate that your hope is toxic. Keep track of the current status of objects or anything, and see whether or not the person you're dealing with returns to previous patterns. Take a moment to reflect on your progress and where you were at the outset. Holding out hope if no progress is being made is harmful, regardless of the tale you are being told or the one you are telling yourself. Keep a diary or record about your relationship's ups and downs. You might get a different perspective after a while. The point isn't to force the other person to change or to make them accountable for anything. Typically, there is no reason to. Keeping track of information won't make the other person do what you've been hoping they'll do, but it will shed light on the relationship's dynamics. Last but not least, toxic hope is an unhealthy sort of denial that can keep people in abusive relationships, especially those with narcissists. The narcissist's cycle of gaslighting and manipulation can be worse with this kind of optimism, which is harmful to mental and emotional health. Toxic hope in a relationship with a narcissist can be recognized by the presence of symptoms such as apprehension when challenged, a history of disappointment, ongoing anxiety, and a pervasive sense of guilt. One must face the truth and get treatment if they want to escape the trap of gaslighting and manipulation. I really hope this was informative for you. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. Have a nice day.